Do you keep dying like this and think to yourself, was that bad movement? Am I just too slow? There's certainly smurfing. But now imagine the opposite. You swing, line up your crosshair, and boom, clean headshot before they can even blink. Every duel feels winnable, and it's like the game's finally playing at your pace. I'm Konpeki, a Radiant coach who's helped hundreds of players climb to Immortal Plus. And in this video, I'm going to show you 4 signs that your aim is actually the problem, even if it doesn't feel like it is. And don't worry, by the end of this video, you won't just know what's going wrong, you'll also have practical tips and drills to start fixing them today. The first sign that your aim might be the issue is frequently dying before you can react. If you've played a couple of ranked games, at some point you've probably thought to yourself, these guys are just too fast, I didn't even have a chance to shoot back. Most low elo players think they die instantly because of their slow reaction times, but in reality, they're completely wrong. Raw reaction times don't nearly matter as much as you think. In fact, even a lot of pro players don't even have lightning fast reflexes. The reality is you don't need extreme speed or 1000 FPS on your computer. You can react faster if you anticipate enemy movements and pre-aim angles correctly before peeking. Your reaction time will naturally feel faster if you're able to expect an enemy to be exactly behind an angle you're about to peek. If you then pre-aim the angle correctly, you'll just need a slight micro adjustment at most to bag the kill. So if you're aware of common engagement points and pre-aim them before peeking, you're essentially preparing your brain to react instantly rather than processing new information in the moment. Think of it like a jump scare in a horror game. If you already know the creepy guy's about to pop out of the closet, you won't scream. But if you don't expect to be there, you'll panic. To improve your passive aim, which is the aiming that you do when you're not in the middle of a gunfight, develop this habit of pre-aiming and predicting common positions. Here's a drill that'll help. First, hop into a custom game and peek standard angles where fights often happen. Place your crosshair where an enemy's head would likely be and practice swinging into those fights without having to adjust your aim after peeking. This reinforces good habits of pre-aiming before exposing yourself during the peek, and this makes your reaction time feel naturally faster. Second, hop into a deathmatch and focus only on swinging common angles with pre-aimed crosshair placement. For example, on Ascent, you can try to clear B main, you can pre-aim market, pizza. Basically, every peek that you do around the map should start with your crosshair already placed at head level where someone's likely to be. When you're peeking common angles, you don't want to be adjusting your crosshair too much in the middle of your peeks. The goal is to train your brain to trust your pre-aim and stop relying on just flicks for every single fight. Enemies will surprise you with random positions from time to time, but by focusing on just this drill, you'll be able to take a lot of gunfights and improve quickly. Now, while you could grind this out on your own, sometimes the fastest way to improve is getting direct feedback on what you actually need to work on. And that's exactly what we help players do every single day. If you want to rank up fast and see real results, like our students who climb from being hard stuck in Diamond all the way to Immortal in just a few weeks, our team of Radiant and VCT coaches, including rank 1 players like Jawa and former XL player Maru, is here to help. We offer coaching options for every budget, starting from less than $1 a day, all the way to our 10-week premium Immortal Roadmap program, which has a 500 RR rank up guarantee or your money back. Spots for our 10-week program are very limited, so hurry up and book a free assessment call with me or one of my coaches using the link in the description. We'll analyze your tracker, pinpoint your biggest bottlenecks, and ultimately see if you'd be a good fit for the program. Okay, now that you've got a handle on reacting faster in fights, there's another sign that your aim is a problem, even if you don't realize you're doing it. The second sign your aim might be holding you back is how often you spray during gunfights. Now, before you say, but I see pros spraying all the time, hear me out. Most players don't realize how often they're spraying at the wrong time. Unlike some other FPS titles, spraying in Valorant is usually not the most effective way to secure kills. If you've ever tried holding down mouse 1 the second you saw someone and hoped for the best, yeah, you're not alone. Most low to mid elo players spray in almost every fight, whether it's 5 meters or 50 meters. But here's the problem, spraying isn't always the move. Valorant rewards first bullet accuracy and controlled shots, not panic sprays from across the map. At long distances, your spray turns into a slot machine, and unless you get lucky, you're probably gonna whiff. Comparing how tight the spray is at 10 meters compared to 50 meters, you'll see that the recoil is a lot easier to control at shorter range compared to longer range. This is why you see pros burst or tap at range instead of dragging their recoil all over the place. To figure out the right approach, you need to think about distance. For close range fights, sure, spraying can work, but once you're beyond that, it's time to start bursting or tapping. Here's a drill progression to help you break that over spraying habit. Hop into a deathmatch on Breeze, Icebox, or any map that gives you both close and long range fight. Challenge yourself to tap or burst that distance and only spray up close. Next, hop in a team deathmatch and practice spraying and tapping for different guns at different ranges. For pistols like the Ghost or Sheriff, take mid to short range fights and avoid spamming. SMGs like Spectres, pick close range fights and learn to spray more. And lastly, with rifles like the Guardian or Vandal, focus on long range fights with tapping or bursting. This is easier to do in team deathmatch since enemies will be bound to specific weapons as well. And don't worry if your kill count drops because you're retraining your bad habit and that takes time. After practicing this for a few days, you'll naturally start picking the right approach with different guns at different ranges, which will make you aim more consistently and help you win more gunfights. Remember, spraying feels safe when you're panicking, but it's actually one of the riskiest things you can do if you're not in the right spot. And this brings us to the third sign that your aim might be holding you back, which is you struggle to track enemies in close range fights. Close range fights often feel chaotic because enemies move unpredictably across your screen. At longer distances, strafing looks slower and makes tracking easier, but up close, enemies move fast, and if your tracking isn't smooth, you're gonna miss your shot. A lot of players instinctively flick in close range duels, but that doesn't work well when targets are constantly changing direction. Flicking is great when movement is predictable, but in tight fights, tracking is what really wins. If you're struggling to win close range fights, even when you react in time, that's usually a tracking issue. Your crosshair might start in the right place, but once the enemy starts moving around, you can't stay on target. And this shows up as constant whiffs in tight angles, missed sprays, or moments where you feel like you should have hit the shot but didn't. So to improve your close range tracking, start in the range with bots strafing and practice tracking their heads while counter strafing from a close distance. If you're using a standard sensitivity, let's say anywhere from 0.25 to 0.3 at 800 DPI, you'll find that long range tracking is mostly wrist based, but up close, you need to involve your whole arm for smoother control. To improve arm movements, rest your arm on the desk. Otherwise, you'll have a tough time controlling your mouse. Practice this drill for 5 to 10 minutes, then hop in a deathmatch focusing on close range fights. And lastly, to help you in very close range fights, you can actually get away with running and gunning. No, seriously, spray while moving and you'll often become impossible to hit. You'll land a kill and probably get a salty message from the enemy complaining about your movement. This works really easily with SMGs like the Spectre, but you can even pull this off with the Vandal in the right spot. Even better with the Phantom since it has higher fire rate and bigger magazines. Whether it's short range tracking or learning when to break the rules and run at them, close range fights test how well you can stay locked in under pressure. And this brings us to our fourth sign that your aim is a problem, and it's that you whiff too many shots after over flicking or under flicking. Let me explain. Over flicking happens when your crosshair flies past the target. Under flicking is when you stop short. These are both common and totally natural aiming mistakes. Even high level players do it. The issue isn't that you're flicking imperfectly. The real problem is that you're not correcting precisely enough after you under flick or over flick. A good aimer doesn't land the perfect shot every time, but they do adjust quickly when they miss by a little. That's what separates clean aim from messy whiffs. Now, a lot of players assume they're over flicking or under flicking because their sensitivity is off. And sure, sensitivity can play a role. If it's too high, your micro adjustments will feel twitchy, and if it's too low, you'll feel sluggish when reacting to wide peaks or trying to turn flashes. But trying to change up your sensitivity all the time is just covering up the real issue. You haven't trained your flick control or micro adjustments properly. The key isn't landing the perfect flick every time. It's learning to clean up your misses quickly and smoothly. There are two great drills. First, use Breach's ult to clear out most of the bots in the range, only keeping a few in front of you. Place your crosshair just off to the side of the bot's head and flick to correct. Once you're comfortable with that, here's a second drill you can try. Imagine a 10-point star around the bot's head. Your goal is to microadjust from each point of the star towards the bot's head. After destroying one, focus on the next spot and microadjust from a different point. The goal is to reduce the time between your initial flick and your micro correction. You can also bring this into AimLab or Kovac. There are many scenarios to choose from, but I find one wall, 6 targets small in AimLab or Kovacs to be the most effective for this. The point isn't flashy wide flicks, but it's building that precise control and fast reaction to small errors. If you're still hungry to improve, I made a 46-minute mechanics guide that covers every Valorant mechanic in the game, including crosshair placement, movement, consistency, all of it. So click the video here to check it out. It'll seriously level up your fundamental. Thanks for watching.